Death is usually seen as the final chapter, a door that closes and never reopens. But in a small town in England, in the late 1950s, a family experienced something that suggests the door might just be a revolving one. After losing their two young daughters in a horrific accident, the Pollock family thought their lives were over. But when a new pair of twins was born a year later, the grief turned into a profound, chilling mystery. The twins didn't just look like their dead sisters. They knew their secrets. They recognized toys they had never seen and described a home they had never visited. Is it a miracle of the human spirit, a psychological anomaly, or the most compelling evidence for reincarnation ever recorded? Welcome to the Unknown Archive. For our series finale, we examine the life, death, and return of the Pollock twins. May 5th, 1957, Hexham, England. 11-year-old Joanna Pollock and her 6-year-old sister Jacqueline were walking to church with a friend. In a split second, a car swerved off the road and struck them. Both girls died instantly. The tragedy shattered their parents, John and Florence Pollock. John Pollock was a man of deep faith, but his beliefs were unconventional. He became convinced that his daughters would return to the family. Florence, however, was a skeptic. She dismissed John's talk as the ramblings of a grieving man. That is, until she became pregnant again. On October 4th, 1958, Florence gave birth to identical twin girls, Gillian and Jennifer. Almost immediately, the anomalies began. Even though they were identical twins, Jennifer had a birthmark on her waist, exactly where her late sister Jacqueline had a scar from a fall. Even more shocking was a birthmark on Jennifer's forehead. It was a small indented line that perfectly matched a scar Jacqueline had received after being hit by a bucket. When the twins were 3 months old, the family moved away from Hexham to start a new life. The girls grew up with no knowledge of their sisters' deaths. When they were 4 years old, the family returned to Hexham for a visit. This is when the archives file takes a turn toward the impossible. As they drove into the town, the twins, who had never been there since they were infants, started pointing out landmarks they should not have known. "There's the school we used to go to," they cried, pointing to the school where Joanna and Jacqueline had been students. "The playground is behind that wall." When John took them to their old house, the twins recognized it immediately. They knew every room, every corner, and every squeaky floorboard. John decided to test them. He went to the attic and brought down a box of old toys that belonged to the deceased sisters. He hadn't told the twins about the toys, yet as soon as he opened the box, the girls lunged for them. "This is Mary!" Gillian shouted, grabbing a doll that had belonged to Joanna. "And this is Susan," Jennifer said, picking up Jacqueline's favorite teddy bear. They named the toys correctly. They even described which Santa Claus had given them the toys years before they were born. In the Unknown Archive, we analyzed the phobia. The twins exhibited a terrifying shared fear of cars. If a car started its engine nearby, the girls would scream in terror, clutching each other and crying, "The car, it's coming to get us." One day, Florence overheard the twins playing in their room. What she heard chilled her blood. Gillian was cradling Jennifer's head. She said, "The blood is coming out of your eyes. That's where the car hit you." Jennifer replied, "I remember. Everything went dark." They were describing the exact injuries their sisters had sustained in the accident, details their parents had never revealed to them. Dr. Ian Stevenson, a world-renowned psychiatrist who spent his life studying cases of reincarnation, heard about the Pollocks and began a decades-long investigation. Stevenson was a man of science. He looked for fraud, for leading questions, and for cryptomnesia, where a person remembers things they've overheard but forgotten. But he couldn't find a rational explanation. The parents were honest. The marks on the bodies were physical. The knowledge of the town was verified. Stevenson concluded that the Pollock case was one of the most suggestive examples of reincarnation he had ever encountered. Why does memory survive death? And why only for some? By the time the twins turned 5, the memories began to fade. This is a common pattern in these cases. The new life takes over, and the old life recedes into the subconscious. As adults, Gillian and Jennifer grew up to be normal, healthy women. They have no conscious memory of being Joanna and Jacqueline today, but the scars remain. the birthmarks remain. In the unknown archive, we look at the biological aspect. How can a soul or a memory manifest as a physical birthmark on a new body? This suggests that the mind has a profound influence over the formation of the physical vessel, a template that is carried over from one life to the next. Skeptics argue that John Pollock in his grief subconsciously trained the twins to act like their sisters. They suggest he might have talked about the toys or the town in their presence, and the children simply absorbed the information. But this doesn't explain the birthmarks. It doesn't explain the specific gruesome details of the accident they described during their play sessions, and it doesn't explain the visceral, physical terror of moving cars that haunted their early childhood. The Pollock case challenges our fundamental understanding of time and identity. If we are just a collection of neurons and electrical impulses, then death is the end. But if we are something more, then what is the limit? The case also raises ethical questions. If the twins were truly the returned sisters, was it a gift for the parents or a burden for the children? Florence Pollock, the skeptic, eventually became a believer. She couldn't deny what she saw with her own eyes. They weren't just playing, she said. They were remembering. Hexham is a quiet town today. The road where the accident happened is still there. But for the Pollock family, that road wasn't just a place of death. It was the beginning of a mystery that would fascinate the world. Dr. Stevenson documented over 3,000 cases of children who claimed to remember past lives. Most of them were in the East, where reincarnation is a common belief. The Pollock case is rare because it happened in the West, in a Christian family with no prior belief in the phenomenon. This makes the evidence cleaner, untainted by cultural expectations. In the unknown archive, we consider the unfinished business theory. Joanna and Jacqueline died suddenly, violently, and young. Some believe that such a traumatic interruption of life creates a magnetic pull that brings the soul back to the same family. The precision of the birthmarks is the smoking gun, a scar from a bucket, a scar from a fall. Both replicated on the new twins in the exact same coordinates. Can coincidence explain that? Statistics say no. The twin story has been analyzed by theologians, scientists, and skeptics for over 60 years. No one has been able to close the file. It remains an open wound in the side of materialist science. As we reach the end of our journey through the unknown archive, the Pollock twins represent the ultimate frontier. Not the depths of the ocean, not the vacuum of space, but the mystery of what happens to us when the body stops. If the Pollocks came back, who else is walking among us with a forgotten past? Who are you, and who were you before? The memories of children are often dismissed as imagination, but the Pollock twins showed us that imagination doesn't name dolls it's never seen. It doesn't find its way through a town it's never visited. Every time a child says something creepy about their old parents or the other house, we should listen. They might be giving us a glimpse into the mechanics of the universe. The Pollock case ended with the girls living full lives. The trauma was integrated, the memories faded, and the cycle continued. But the archive doesn't forget. We hold these stories to remind ourselves that reality is much wider than what we see through our eyes. 35 videos, 35 mysteries. From the depths of the Bermuda Triangle to the souls of two little girls in England, we have traveled through time, space, and the human mind. The unknown is not something to be feared. It is something to be explored. The Pollock twins are the final piece of the puzzle, the proof that life is a circle, not a line. Keep your eyes open. Keep your mind curious. The next mystery might be sitting right across from you. Thank you for joining us for this incredible 35-video journey through the unknown archive. What do you believe? Are we more than just our bodies? Share your thoughts below. Stay curious, and until next time, the archive is always open.